Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back, it's Jordan here. Recently, we expanded the LEGO city with the addition of a huge island. And today in this video, we're gonna continue working on those changes. So we took our beautiful beach, which used to head toward the LEGO city, and we rotated it 90 degrees, and with that, the water plates. So the water plates, they no longer make sense. We've got the deep water going into the shallows, so we've got to try and fix that up. And we need to fix up the beach too, because there's like no connection point there. There's a base plate. The palm leaves are falling off. There's an open base plate there. So I think the easiest place to continue working on these changes, or the place where it makes sense to start, is just to get this area looking pretty sweet here. Because eventually we want the beach to wrap right around these little mini modular buildings. So I think we may as well start with just fixing this up. So here's our sand before and after. I think that looks pretty cool. I like having like the curves along the beach. It's gonna be sweet. But yeah, the first thing we have to do is get the sand done right. So you start in the corner, you sort of work your way forward, and then you take that line and sort of bend it around. That's how we did that. And we did have to remove some of the azure plate there and the tile just to round out this corner a little bit more, because we didn't want it to be a harsh right angle. Yeah, now we just need to fix up the water. Yeah, I need to build it up to the sand, and then also fix up this plate here. Probably just start from scratch, like just extract this plate and then build one from scratch, just because maybe we could use this elsewhere, because we have a lot of water to build. So wouldn't want to redo all that work for nothing. Might be able to reuse it. The water, yeah, that makes it look a lot better. So of course our underlying plate for the water is medium azure, dark azure, blue, dark blue, and then black. And the tile on top is the trans light blue tiles, and then it transitions into the trans dark blue tiles. We mix in some of the clear slopes and cheese slopes to create waves. And then you can also mix in some of the trans dark blue cheese slopes as well in the deeper areas. But yeah, there we go. That corner is looking so much better already. We did decide to put some green right here. We're thinking maybe there can be like a grassy area just like up against the concrete there. So it's not all sand, so it's not like sand, concrete, you know? And we'll have to blend that in a little bit better there as well. But before we do that, and before we start adding details to our beach, we want to get the rough draft done. And I think the next thing we need to do is wrap around this corner. Even though we're going to build half base plate modular buildings for right here, like custom corners, I think we can continue working on the beach. Why not get that looking pretty sweet? I love the like curviness of it, right? And speaking of like the curviness effect, we once again are going to be doing the curviness effect along the entire island here. Some people were very concerned about this harsh right angle, but the reason we put the right angle there yesterday, I think it was, when we were replacing these platforms, is because we wanted the platforms to have something to go square up against, so that when we placed them, they were sort of square on the table. It's the only reason we did that. This is very like temporary. This isn't what the island is going to look like. Don't worry about that. Also, that might not be the only beach. We can have different little beaches throughout the island. You know, there might be stairs coming down and have like a little beach down here or something. And we can also do little tiny plots of land throughout all of this water. This water here is just a blank canvas for us. Once we get our swerving coastline in here, we can have different things come down. You can have a boat, you can have surfers, you can have just rocks, maybe some island detail, maybe a lighthouse, maybe a Ferris wheel. So we can use this water to our advantage. It's not just going to be straight up water the entire perimeter, right? Like we can do stuff in the water, and I think it's going to be pretty cool. And this is going to be an island. We're not going to make it a peninsula. Some people were concerned that we were going to connect the land. Nope, it's just going to be connected by a bridge or a causeway for vehicles. But yeah, let's continue working on the beach right here. In order to do that, we had to work on the modular building layout. What? Why would we have to work on a modular building layout to work on a beach? Well, it's just like the foundation for the elevated area, because these modular buildings are raised up 2 bricks, and we actually redid the layout. We spun them around so they're back to back. So that actually threw off a lot of the tile work in front of them, which is done in like the checker pattern with the dark tan and dark gray. So this one here was added to the mix. We had to raise it up an additional brick from its original mills plate to fix up the tile work there. And then all of these tiles had to be redone. We created 2 more half base plate mills plates that go right there. And that's where our corner builds are gonna go. What do you think we should put there? Like, what corner build should we do? I don't know. We've got a lot of places to eat, lots of shopping here. Trying to think of what we should put there. I'm not too sure. But as you can see, our pattern there, it continues consistently around, which is good. All the way around here. So that all had to be redone. And these plates were actually constructed. So the walkway is built up 2 bricks, and then we have the tan sand below. And this is where our beach comes to an end, and we'll transition into rocks. And believe me, this isn't the final product. This is gonna be water here. We started laying some of the underlying plate for the water, that being the blue, azure, and dark blue in this region here. Got to fill in the rest with the black. But before I do that, I wanna place this down there and just see what it looks like, because we have made a ton of progress with this. You can see the beach coming to an end there, and the water is starting to be filled in with all those amazing bluish colors. And the beach actually wraps around and comes way out like that. It sort of bulges out. So this is like one of the main beaches in the city now. And the beach is super cool because it like wraps around this whole region. In order to work on this, we had to bring it up here because it was hard to stretch and reach down there. We brought up a few plates, and then we brought up a few more, then we brought up all the buildings, and then we constructed some new plates, and it's like, yeah, like in order to work on the beach and in order to build this, we've got to build these elevated plates. We've got to fix the tile work. We've got to do that because then we can get our bearings from the land and work our way out toward the sea, and that's exactly what we did. But yeah, this is all mills plated, so this is all built up. 1 additional brick, you can see it splits apart like that. So there's one of our water plates, and then we have another water plate right here. We'll probably just merge these 3 eventually. And then these are all split into different modules as well. Now, before we get too far ahead of ourselves with the tiling and water detail, which takes forever, as you can imagine, because we got to go through and fill in all these studs and give it that like checkered look, I want to place it, make sure it looks good, because we just spent an entire day building this up here. And I always like test fitting stuff before we get too far ahead of ourselves. So why don't we take care of that? I can't wait to see it down there with the other sections of beach. While placing the beach, I decided to visualize what the causeway might look like. And this is a rough draft, okay? It's not gonna look like this in the end. But I elevated it 6 bricks, which pretty much brings it to the proper height to connect to a road, which will be on the island. So I think that's pretty cool. And of course, a causeway is a road that's elevated by like rocks or gravel. So we would fill that in on the sides or just keep it open, sort of bridge style. But I think a causeway might actually look pretty cool. So maybe I'll just close it off. But yeah, that's sort of what it would look like in that position there. And I love the look of the beach here now. That's definitely looking pretty cool. A lot better than what it looked like at the beginning of this video. And I'm glad that I placed it because now I can sort of visualize what's going to happen here. So this will sort of turn and connect to the causeway. And of course, this will all be water and this will be land. So yeah, that's going to be pretty sweet. And another reason why I'm pretty happy that we placed it is because I don't need everything up there to work on water plates. The next thing I need to do is continue working on water plates. And if I want to do that, well, I can just haul all of the different modules up there individually or sections at a time and work on the copious amounts of tiles that need to be laid. I think this looks pretty good. It does come pretty close to the edge. There is still some distance from the island, so I think that's good. If we have like a swervy rock face here, it's still, I don't know, over a base plate away, almost 2, like 1.5 base plates, so 48 studs away from the island. So I think that's all right. And I'm really happy with the shape of the beach. I think the swerviness of it is really cool. I think that's fantastic. But yeah, the next job I need to do is laying tiles, laying a lot of tile and a lot of plate, but it's so worth it in the end. It looks so good compared to just like your standard blue. It's definitely worth getting the layers and getting that depth effect worked into the water. It definitely elevates it to the next level, you know? I might have to adjust some of the sand. I mean, it's not done yet, but we will be adding more like texture to it, and I might be adding more of the wet sand effect and also some more of the moving water effect along the shoreline. So here it looks pretty good, like it's quite a bit there, like that's like 6, 7, 8 studs. Over here it does become a little bit thin. We are running low on the dark tan elements, but we could replace some of these here with dark tan. So for example, that 1x4, that 2x4, that 2x4, that 2x6, we could make that more of a dark tan grade all throughout, or we could move our azures out. Another reason why I wanted to place it is just to make sure that we're happy with this layout before we do all the water, all the water. But you can see here, like we just need to add a bit more dark tan. So I do need to order a few more of those elements there, not a few more, a bunch more, because we got, we got a lot of water to create. But I think it's gonna be pretty cool. And you know, I feel like rejuvenated here, everybody. Not that I wasn't really like energized before working on this new island project, but I don't know, there's just something about beaches and downtown and water and all that, which I just thoroughly enjoy building. So I'm happy that I have the opportunity to build that again. Hey everybody, go Oilers, it's game 2 today. So I'm off to go enjoy that game with the family. Everybody, I hope you enjoyed this update as we work on improving our beach. Make sure you stay tuned for some more great stuff because we've got an island to build in Lego. How cool is that? It's pretty fantastic. All right, everybody, you have yourselves a great day. Thank you so much for popping on by, and farewell.